The safest suburbs to live in the Portland metro area. So many people moving to the Portland metro area want to know, okay, where are the safe spots? Where should I be looking in my home search? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it. So stay tuned to learn more. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Paul Clem with the Home Team Brokers coming to you from Portland, Oregon. And in this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 safest suburbs in the Portland metro area. There's a lot of variety here. There's a lot of diversity amongst these areas. They definitely all, really but one, have a lot in common. Definitely stick around to the end because number 5 on this list was a big shock to me and I think would be a big surprise to a lot of people living here currently. So definitely stick around to see what the last one is. We're going to go through this list in order from safest to second, third, fourth, and fifth safest, ranked by not just violent crime, but property crime. These are 2 categories that definitely have to be looked at from a different perspective a little bit. You know, you hear a lot about like car break-ins and theft and things like that, in particular in Portland. Obviously, that's something that happens everywhere, but to what degree, how bad it is, that's really going to vary. So these areas are going to rank pretty high in terms of safety when it comes to property crime, but also for violent crime. That is another category that I think a lot of people would look at more in their day-to-day, you know, when they're looking at kind of their personal safety. Especially if you're moving to the Portland metro area with a family or you're planning on starting a family in the area. So of course, safety, very important to a lot of people. Again, we're going to talk about these rankings based on violent crime and property crime. And if this is your first time to the channel or you've been here and you haven't already and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. We've helped so many people relocate to Oregon and move to the Portland metro area. And as real estate professionals, we love to help with that process. So if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us. Either way, we would love to help with your move to the Portland area. All right, let's get started. So number 1 on the list, the safest ranked suburb in the entire Portland metro area, actually isn't in Oregon. It's a place called Camas, Washington. So this is really kind of a suburb or smaller town just east of Vancouver, Washington. Vancouver, of course, borders Portland to the north, separated by the Columbia River. You get north up into Washington and you're in Vancouver. There's a lot of smaller towns around Clark County and around Vancouver that are really blowing up. A lot of development, a lot of new construction, and by and large more affordable than a lot of areas on the Oregon side in the Portland metro area. But when you look at Camas, this is like a small, little picturesque small town that really has a little bit of an upscale kind of luxury feel to some degree as far as what it offers, in particular in regards to real estate. So the median sale price in Camas right now is $650,000. So that's going to be on par with areas like Tualatin and Sherwood and West Linn down again on the Oregon side. So a little bit more of kind of a higher end feel in Camas. Again, it really has a bit of a small town feel more than kind of a true suburban, you know, butting up against a major city type area. And it is more removed. So if you get due north into Vancouver from Portland and then you go out Highway 14 to the east, you're going to get into Camas. There's about 25,000 people there. There's a lot to offer, right? There's a lot of people that really like about living in Camas. You have Camas Lake. So the lake access is incredible. A lot of great green spaces. You have the downtown area, again, which is picturesque, great restaurants and boutiques and coffee shops, and a lot of great walkability if you live right near the downtown area. And there are some major employers in the area too. So you have the paper mill there, which I think it's Georgia Pacific, or one of the big, paper processing companies. You also have Fisher Investments, which is a really big company involved in, personal finance, investments, things like that. So a lot of big employers in Camas really punches above its weight in terms of kind of the employment opportunities when you look at a town of 25,000 people. Again, you're really close to Vancouver in Clark County. Pretty far removed from Portland though, so if you want to get down into the city, into downtown Portland and in other parts of Portland, it's going to be a little bit of a drive. The commute to and from Portland from Vancouver, or vice versa, notoriously the worst commute in the entire Portland metro area. So if you live in Camas but work in Portland, I mean, you're probably looking at 90 minutes to a couple of hours, especially going home during rush hour in the evening. So definitely very removed from the city and from Portland, but it's right on the edge of kind of that Portland metro area, again, just outside of Vancouver, and rated the safest place to live in all of the Portland metro area. So you have 32 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, and you have about 1,100 incidents of property crime per 100,000. 0 murders in the area. These are all statistics from 2022, by the way, but I think are going to be probably pretty consistent looking into 2023. But Camas, Washington, definitely a place to check out if you're not too worried about being right in Portland and looking for a really safe, quiet, nice kind of small town feel type area. All right, next on the list, number 2 safest area to live in the Portland metro area, Lake Oswego and West Linn. Yes, these are 2 different cities. They share a border, Lake Oswego on the north side, West Linn on the south side. They are different enough and have enough distinct differences to where they probably should be mentioned as 2 individual towns, but offer a lot of similarity as far as the type and style of living, higher end, luxury, more expensive real estate, more expensive places to live overall. Lake Oswego in particular, really probably the most expensive suburb to live in, and in terms of housing prices, the most expensive in the Portland metro area, but West Linn's not far behind. And again, West Linn kind of naturally extends to the south from Lake Oswego, and you do get a lot of similarity. So they sit right in the same part of the Portland metro area, just due south of downtown Portland. Lake Oswego is going to be 70 instances of violent crime per 100,000 people and about 1,200 incidences of property crime per 100,000. West Linn is going to be 90 incidences of violent crime per 100,000 and about 1,500 incidences of property crime per 100,000 individuals. So definitely low on crime. No surprise here. I think if you ask most people in and around the Portland metro area, what do you think is the safest place to live within Portland and the surrounding areas? I think a lot of people are going to say Lake Oswego and West Linn. And again, definitely have their differences. I mean, Lake Oswego has a phenomenal little downtown area, of which is only about 10 minutes into downtown Portland, so very quick and easy access into the city. West Linn is going to be a little bit more removed. You do have the downtown Willamette area, which is really cool as well, and continuing to kind of develop a little bit right now with new shops and restaurants and things like that going in. So a very desirable area. So Lake Oswego, West Linn coming in at number 2 on the list, safest places to live in the Portland metro area. All right, next on the list is King City. So King City is really an unincorporated area of Washington County, including an area called Bull Mountain, which is on the south side, southwest side of Tigard. So King City, Bull Mountain, these are going to be Tigard addresses, but you're about as far south and west as you can get in Tigard, so a little bit further away, a little bit more removed from Portland. Bull Mountain is this big mountain that has a ton of residential development that probably started about 25, 30 years ago. There are some older developments up there, 100-year-old homes to mid-century modern, but a lot of development around the 90s, 2000s, and up to present day. So you can get some new construction up in this area. This is an area that really feels pretty high end. The median sale price, as far as property values, are going to skew a little bit higher, but bang for your buck, one of the top places to move to in all of the Portland metro area as far as how far you can stretch your dollar and what you can get for your dollar, relative to maybe other communities in the Portland metro area that have the same type of feel. Now, King City is right on Highway 99, which in and of itself would imply that, being next to a highway, there's probably going to be a little bit higher incidences of crime, but it just turns out that that's not the case, which is a little bit surprising. But on the other hand, King City has a ton of 55 plus communities, the highest concentration for sure of 55 plus communities in the Portland metro area. And so, you're looking at an older age population, an older age demographic, older median age, probably not going to be committing as many crimes necessarily. We're looking at for King City and Bull Mountain. Really, again, this is an area you would consider to be tigered, but a section of tigered. You have 67 incidences per 100,000 of violent crime, and only about 900 incidences of property crime per 100,000. So actually, the source that I was using ranked this third, or rather fourth behind Lake Oswego and West Linn. But statistically, if you look at those numbers, actually a little bit safer than Lake Oswego and West Linn, which is kind of interesting. So there might be other metrics that were pulled in. By the way, I'm using niche.com, which if you haven't been on niche.com, phenomenal website. They do a lot of rankings, ranking areas, neighborhoods, suburbs by things like school district, safety, etc., affordability. So there's a lot of great information there. It's a really good resource and tool for anybody, especially moving into an area, trying to learn more about, the differences between suburbs, neighborhoods, and living in different parts of town. All right, next on the list, number 4, the fourth safest suburb in the Portland metro area to live is Sherwood. So Sherwood, definitely a very distinct area. Actually reminds me a little bit of Camas as far as how far removed it is from the city, and the fact that it has, this cool little old downtown area. It feels a little more like a small town than a true suburb in a lot of ways. It also draws some comparison to West Linn and Happy Valley as well in terms of size and what it offers overall. Sherwood is an area that has developed a lot in recent years and recent decades. So in the past 20, 25, 30 years, Sherwood has really continued to grow and develop a lot. Beautiful brand new high school there, Sherwood High School, definitely one of the nicest high schools, at least aesthetically, in all of the Portland metro area. And Sherwood, another town, about 20, 25,000 people. Again, you're pretty far removed, so you're further southwest from this King City, Bull Mountain area and Tigard. It's going to take you about 30 or 40 minutes to get up into Portland most times of the day. But I think a lot of people that move to an area like Sherwood like that. Sherwood is an area that has great schools, has its own little school district, Sherwood School, so a lot of people enjoy that about Sherwood. And from Sherwood, you can pretty easily just drive off in pretty much any direction other than north and really kind of be out in the country. So there's a lot of wineries. There's just a lot of open, undeveloped land, so it's a great area. If you like to get out and go for drives, kind of take in the scenery, Sherwood is great for that kind of thing. Sherwood is definitely going to be a little bit more expensive. Again, similar to an area like Bull Mountain, I think what you can get for your dollar, though, your dollar can go a little bit further. But a lot of the newer development that has taken place in the last 20 or 30 years, a lot of the homes that were built were, larger 4 or 5 bedroom homes. So those by default are going to be a little bit more expensive, but again, the price per square foot, you can get a little bit more relative affordability in Sherwood than areas that are closer in to Portland and Portland city limits. And in Sherwood, you have 116 incidences of violent crime per 100,000, and you have 1,700 incidences of property crime per 100,000. So a little bit higher than some of the areas that we've talked about, but definitely lower, when you scale that down to a population of 20, 25,000 people, definitely considered to be a safe area to live. No surprise it comes in at number 4 on this list. Okay, are you ready? Number 5, the 5th safest suburb to live in the Portland metro area is Milwaukie. Huge surprise to me, statistically, when you look at the numbers, we're looking at 133 incidences of violent crime per 100,000 and about 1,000 incidences of property crime per 100,000. So, really kind of on par with a lot of these areas, many of which on this list that we've set up to this point are considered to be a little bit more higher end, a little bit quote unquote nicer areas overall. Now, Milwaukie has some really great neighborhoods. It's just so close to Portland. It's basically an extension of Southeast Portland. So all of Milwaukie on the north side shares a border with Portland, with Southeast Portland. And there are some areas in Southeast Portland here that are close to that Milwaukie-Portland border that are considered to be a little bit rougher areas. And it wouldn't take too long driving around these areas to kind of, understand, why that may be. Now, not to disparage, any area necessarily. Again, I mean, it's kind of a natural thing for people to do, to look at the surroundings and make some assumptions about what it's like living there, or kind of, what the general level of safety might be in this area. So when you look at an area like Milwaukie, with that dynamic, I think the assumption would be for a lot of people that Milwaukie might not be the safest place to live necessarily. Not that it's dangerous, not that it's an area that if you live there, you feel like you would have to worry. But again, proximity to the city, typically the closer you get to an urban center or city center, the higher the rate of crime is going to be. And Milwaukee is an area that has a ton of character. You have a lot of older developments, older homes, again, closer into the city. So this was developed a long time ago, 60, 70, 80 plus years ago, by and large. A little bit of newer development here and there, kind of smattered throughout. But for the most part, Milwaukie, it is an old little town suburb of Portland. Again, just extending right to the south on the east side of the river. Milwaukie is right on the river, which is awesome. So there's this little downtown area in Milwaukie, and right across the highway, you have access to the river. So there's a boat ramp, there's walking trails. Obviously, aesthetically, the scenery, it's beautiful. And there are some areas of Milwaukie, like Oak Grove, for example, really sought after. It's kind of the sliver of Milwaukie that hugs the riverside. So on the west side of Milwaukie, again, Milwaukie being on the east side of the river, but you do get some riverfront or really close proximity to the water. Also an area like Gladstone, which is considered to be its own town, basically on the southeast side of Milwaukie, kind of a natural extension from Milwaukie into Gladstone. This whole area has a lot to offer, and I think really above all, what stands out to a lot of people here is you have great proximity to Portland. You really do have some great options. And you have some great affordability. So in Milwaukie, your dollar can go a lot further than some other suburbs that are also touching the Portland city limits, like Oswego for sure, Tigard, and Beaverton on the west side of the river. So again, nothing wrong with Milwaukie. There's a lot to like about Milwaukie, but being so close to the city, I think a lot of people would make some assumptions, or at least not necessarily assume that Milwaukee's fifth on the list of safest suburbs to live in the Portland metro area. So if safety is a big concern, if these are areas you want to learn more about, if you want to take a look at other areas that are statistically similar, where you're probably going to be super safe too, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, click the link down below in the description of the video, schedule a Zoom call with us, and we can talk about your budget, your timeline. We can talk about what the priorities are for you to start taking a look at areas that will be a best fit. Maybe it's some areas on this list, but there's also a ton of other options too that we can discuss. So definitely look forward to connecting and putting together a game plan for you. Now, if this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, we really appreciate you watching, and until next time, we'll talk to you later.